Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Duplex. So I've finished digging up here to the top edge of the map where the space biome begins. I've got an airlock so that once we break into the vacuum, we won't mind if gases escape. I made this airlock out of salt water just because we have a lot available. So we're pretty much all set to break through here and start digging up granite and regolith and mafic rock, hopefully capturing some shove holes that we can start ranching instead of the hatches. You get a lot more meat from shove holes, and they actually don't need to be fed once you get a sufficient quantity. Once they're born, they're born with enough calories in them to mature and lay an egg before they die from starvation. So you can essentially just keep a bunch in a little a ranch, and they will sustain their numbers even if you don't give them any food. So they're very easy to take care of once you get the right numbers. But I don't want to do that today. Today I want to work on my petroleum boiler. So down here in the oil biome, I broke into this area here. This crude oil was under a lot of pressure and it expanded, so we've got plenty of oil to feed the base. I think we're making plastic. No, what am I using petroleum for? Well, maybe just for the generator. Guess we can look here and see where the oil is flowing. Yeah. Okay, so in any case, did we start? Yeah, my geyser started again. That's cool. And I can see steam condensing. The steam pressure is very low. The door is closed. Turbine too hot. Well, that's not good, is it? I think I'm going to need to send my cooling loop up here to cool off the turbine. Aside from that, the temp shift plate seems to be doing its job. How hard would it be to send some cooling up here? I don't think it would be too difficult. Alright. We better do that first. So let's break this open. I'm going to disable this for now so that we stop making heat. No. Above. There we go. That'll essentially shut it off. Okay. So what I'm going to do is let's get some insulated pipe and do that. I loaded a new mod, or a new for me, called pliers, and that lets you cut connections without having to actually deconstruct a piece of pipe, which in this case is very helpful. I find this particularly useful because, for example, you can build pipes like that, right? They're not touching, but there's no tile in between them. And once that's built, you can later just go like that and connect them, and it doesn't take a dupe to go over there and do it. And it's kind of the same with this. So now you can perform the opposite action without having a dupe do it for you. Okay, we're going to deconstruct that tile. And let's see how we're going to we're going to pipe this in. So what I'll do is we'll go radiant pipe, and then I'm going to go insulated pipe. Let's cut that connection. Let's delete that. Let's join that. And then this goes into there. And then I need to cut this. Okay, so that'll give us a cooling loop for the generator. Right, it'll go out here, come through there, go around here. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's right. And then go in there. Shoot. Shoot. I wonder if this will work. Because I'm not going to be able to build this section of pipe, so hopefully I should be able to build all these. Ah, wonderful. Okay. Now let's rebuild that insulated tile. Let's pick that up. Okay, now we should be good. Whoops. Now I just need to put more polluted water into the loop. And fortunately, I left all the pipes there to do that. Okay, excellent. Alright, and then I think I had this set to 14 degrees. That way it'll only cool the water down to 0 degrees. It could go colder since it's polluted, but oh yeah, crap, I'm overheating some stuff in there. We gotta get this cooled down. I made that out of copper. What's damaged? It's not the sensor, is it? Oh, crud. Yeah, this should all be insulated pipe. All right, let's see if we can empty this pipe out somewhere. All right, so let's do this. cut it here. And I'll do that just so we can empty out the pipe to prevent further damage. Turn off the pump. And then once this steam all condenses, I can go into the room and fix these pipes. So our petroleum boiler might have to take a couple of episodes. Okay, yeah, and the steam turbine's staying nice and cool. There we go. Okay, then I can delete that. Reconnect. And I'll leave the pump turned off until I get that stuff done. Yeah, you know, there's not much steam. It's measured in grams. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock the door. Let my dupes go in there and replace this with insulated pipe. Actually, what might be better is just to pipe it, get the pipe out of this room. Maybe instead, I should come out like this. Obviously, we need to get rid of the vent. And then just delete this whole section of pipe. And that way we won't have a lot of liquid sitting inside this chamber. And the part that we do have will be underneath the water, which will be below the boiling point. Oh, yeah. And there goes my vacuum. Crap. Well, back to the drawing board. All right. Gas pump there. I'm gonna hook a switch up to it. I think lead is fine. Ah, and I conveniently left my vent there. It's almost as if I knew this was going to happen again. Hurry up. Get out of there. What? Cold damage? Oh, yeah. Because I'm trying to pump steam out. That's not good. Yeah, gas pumps are not good for moving steam. Okay, so the temperature here is staying relatively cool. Not quite cool enough for the temp shift plates. We could go 90 degrees. Cool it a little more aggressively. Because it's not condensing terribly quickly. Might help if I actually closed in the room more, so that there's less volume to try to cool. Really, I don't need all this space up here, do I? Right, so we could do that. And then we don't have to cool any of this part. But we'll wait for some of this steam to condense out of there, and then we'll open it up again and go mess around some more. Yeah, it's condensing fairly quickly. You can see all the steam moving over here. Alright, so I'd consider this mostly a success. Alright, I'll unlock it so the dupes can go in there and build that. I'll just let them do it however long it takes. Hopefully not too long. Alright, and then we can deconstruct this portion. And that'll make it easier for me to make a vacuum in here as well. Okay, speaking of which. Okay, now let's lock it again. Hopefully this is the last time I have to make a vacuum in here. And we just have to keep an eye on it and shut off the pump before steam starts coming out again. Yeah, we're not going to get it completely vacuumed out, but we'll get pretty close. At least into milligram range, and that maybe that'll be enough, you know. Okay, let's shut it off. And let's see how it goes this time. Hopefully the steam will condense more quickly, since it's basically got nowhere to go but right into these temp shift plates. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, we can let the pump turn back on now. This doesn't seem to be quite powerful enough to keep up with the heat from the steam vent. I guess as long as the steam disappears in between eruptions, then that's good enough, right? Okay, we'll wait for the steam to go away, then I'll turn the pump back on. Come on. And of course, it's all just hanging around my pump. There we go. Yeah, and we only have 0.2 cycles left, so we gotta work fast. Alright, we'll do this one more time, and then we're gonna start working on the petroleum boiler. We're in milligram territory, and then it goes into micrograms. So maybe we just call this good enough, close enough to a vacuum, that it's not going to interfere too much with the eruptions. Okay. Okay, so on the boiler, I built one in sandbox mode on a test map, and it worked fine, so I'm going to attempt to do the same thing here. So the first thing that we need to do is dig down to the magma. So let's get that done. Igneous rock ladder melts at 1400. The magma is 1840, so we don't want our ladder touching the magma or it will melt. And that would be a bad thing to happen. So once we get down here, I'm going to put some diamond window tiles, which will conduct heat from the magma. They will go into a steel door, actually pretty much exactly like we have here. Same setup, only it's going to be horizontal. And then on the other side of that steel door, we're going to drip crude oil, which will heat up to the point that it turns into petroleum, which is right just a hair below 400 degrees. And then when it turns to petroleum, we're going to have it go down kind of an S-shaped channel. And the pipe that brings in the crude oil will travel up into that same channel before it drips down. So that way the hot petroleum will heat up the oil, and the oil will cool down the petroleum. Okay, perfect. I was worried that this might be under pressure and shoot up, but it didn't, so that's good news. So I think we can build one more ladder section and hopefully not touch anything. Alright, and then we're going to put our diamond... I'm going to try to put 2 layers of diamond tiles down here. So I'll put a priority 6 on those 2 and then a priority 5 on the others. I hope they don't push the magma up. They might. Yeah, I think they are. Yeah, there's the igneous rock that used to be that piece of ladder. So let's see if we dig this out, if that'll make it go away. Hopefully it'll fall back in. Alright, and then that window tile obviously is gonna... Okay, I need to push it down. Okay, so let's... Maybe I'll just have to put a couple more diamond tiles, and hopefully that'll push the magma out of the way. Now let's keep that. I know what I'll do. let's build this one first. That'll push it over there. I might have to mop up the magma and unbottle it somewhere where it's not going to hurt anything too much. Okay, that's good. Can I delete that tile? You don't want to stand there, dude. Okay, alright, she didn't get injured. Good. Alright. And hopefully this will just push the magma over this way and not up. Yes. Awesome. Okay. Good. So now this will, well, you can see this has already cooled down the magma quite a bit. You know, it started at, well, maybe it didn't. What was the temperature before? Okay, close to 600, 1600 degrees. All right, so this is going to collect a lot of heat from the magma since we have a lot of surface area in contact with it. Okay, so the next thing we put in is a steel airlock. Whoops. And that's going to go... I have to delete that ladder first. That's going to go right here. And since it's surrounded by abyssalite, I don't need to put insulated tile next to it. Since the abyssalite does a good job of it already. Huh. There's a piece of neutronium here. Well, fortunately that's a good conductor as well. Let me queue up some more steel if I'm not making some already. Oh, I am making more steel. I just don't have lime. Am I doing everything I can to make lime? Yes. Okay. Well, I guess that means we're just going to have to wait for eggshells. That is unfortunate. Let's see, skills. Ice cube. Go for iced tea. Let's get some plumbing skills for him. Okay, and now the door is heating up. But that's okay, the door has a melting point of 24, 26, so it's not going to melt. Okay, and then on the other side of this, 2 more diamond window tiles. How much diamond do I have? 13 tons. Good. Oh, you know what? Before we do that, I need an automation wire. That's going to be made out of steel as well. And that's going to come up to there where I'm going to put a temperature sensor. And I'm going to make this a little bit taller just to be safe. Don't want any of this spilling down there. Oh, and I should connect power to it as well. I'm not sure which way I want to build it. I guess I'll build it over this way. In any case, I'm going to use I'll use a steel power wire as well. Actually, is that really necessary? There's a copper power wire. Yeah, melting point is 1,000 degrees. Yeah, I'll use steel, at least for this part that's down here, just to be safe. Steel power wire has the same melting point as the door. Okay. And then we'll put our other diamond tile there. Alright. So let's deconstruct that bit of ladder. And then, like I said, I'm going to put a thermosensor right there. Now the thermosensor doesn't have to be super high temperature. Okay. Yeah, so we can just do a copper thermosensor here. That melts at 1,000 degrees. It won't get that hot. Okay, and then I'm also going to put a signal switch. Okay, no, that can't be lead. I think the signal switch does need to be made out of steel. Let's check. What if we make it out of copper? Okay, copper would be fine. Let's not waste steel. Alright, and then steel automation wire. This way I can force the door open or closed if I choose. What is that liquid right there? Copper. Oh, yeah. Jeez. That's because my door is open. Okay, so until I can get this door to... Alright, well, I guess they're going to have to be steel. And I'm going to have a couple bits of melted copper down there. I should have put that in before I put in these window tiles, because the problem is that they're just transferring all the heat into there and it's melting everything that they try to place. Okay, great. So now it won't transfer any more heat. So you can see this starting to cool down, and the copper will eventually solidify. All right, so this thermosensor, we are going to set to open the door if the temperature drops below 402. So send a green signal if below... Well, I'm going to leave it for now because I don't want this door to close to try to heat this up to 402 degrees. We'll just leave it the way it is for now. Okay, so that part's done. Next, we are going to build a bit of an area for the oil to drip down into and turn into petroleum. So I'm going to line that with... I think I can just use regular igneous insulated tiles. I have a bisylite there, so I can can just build like this. And then I'm going to get rid of that tile. And then this little chamber will be where we dump the oil. And I'm not going to sweep this stuff out of here because it's so hot. I don't want them taking it back to the base. Yeah, so all this debris here, I think I'm just going to leave there. Okay, so far so good. Now I need to start replacing all of these tiles with insulated tiles. But I can't do that without letting oil come in, so I'm going to have to start by doubling up on these walls here, and then I can replace them from inside. Okay. Okay, so let's build. I'll build a couple storage bins here under the oil. And I'll set these to a high priority, and then I'll sweep this out, and hopefully they'll bring them to these. I'll sweep only 7. And that way this stuff will cool down in the oil. Ah, good. And we can get it nice and clean. Okay. So far so good. Alright, now I can get rid of that. We'll sweep that. And actually I want one less tile there. Okay, so I'm going to bring this over a few tiles. This part's going to get a little tricky to build. So basically what I want is the petroleum to come up here, and then it's going to flow down like this, and then into a pit where I'll be able to pump it out. Alright, so let's kind of plan this out. So it'll have to go like that. And then like that. Unfortunately, this oil is in the way. So I can either bring it up higher so that I don't have to worry about displacing the oil. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see, what if I do, and then it drops down. Yeah, I could do something like that. Or I could make the S's 2 tiles tall so that I can walk through them. Let's try that actually. Okay. So this is where the oil will eventually drop down. Okay, then we'll have some radiant pipe. I'll make it out of aluminum. Okay. Let's sweep all that out. And I'll probably want to vacuum out the inside of this. Alright, let's see here. And then here, let's see, I'll have a wall like that, right? So it goes down, down, down. Here there's no wall. And here we'll go into an area where we pump out the petroleum. One, two, three. Yeah. Must be break time. Okay. Oh, come on, it's not that hot. I'm going to empty this out once it gets filled up. Oh. Alright, let's leave one section out so it doesn't start. I don't want it to start pumping in yet. Okay. Now I can take that out. And we will put a pump down there. I'm going to make the pump out of steel just to be safe. It's going to be pumping out petroleum that should be within the range of gold amalgam to be okay, but it might get hotter. Okay, so we'll make that steel. And I'll just use regular granite pipe coming out of there. Okay, so that'll be our petroleum. And then I'm going to control this with, I'm going to have 2 hydro sensors. Yeah, copper should be fine on those. I'll use copper automation cable as well. No. There we go. Yeah, and I'm actually going to want a shut-off valve. I'm going to want a shut-off valve on the oil. And the reason for that is if I build up a lot of petroleum, I want to shut off the oil so that it doesn't flood the whole thing. So this one will control the pump so that it only turns on when there's a decent quantity in, and then this one will turn off the supply of oil when we've accumulated a decent amount of petroleum. Okay. Overheat damage. Just sitting here. Yeah, because I made it out of lead. That was smart. Okay, so this one we will, let's see. Green allows liquid, so we will allow liquid to flow if it's below 500, and this one will allow that pump to turn on if it's above 250. Okay. So let's find a liquid shutoff that will do better under temperature. How about copper? 1,000 degrees. Okay. Copper will be fine. All right. Let's get rid of that bit of ladder. And then let's put in a means to vacuum it out. I'll just put in a mini gas pump. No, I guess I won't. Overheat temperature is 75. Gas pump. I wish I didn't have to do this. All right, well, let's wire these up anyway. And let's wire this up as well. That way it'll open and close more quickly. So if I close it in like that, I will have room to put a pump here to pump the air out. And then we can just leave it in there. But I'll have to make it out of steel so that it doesn't overheat and be constantly giving me error messages. Okay, so let's do that. And then I should put a switch on it. I'll put the switch out here where it's not going to get so hot. And then we'll be ready to get it started once that construction gets done of the wires. How are we doing over here? Looks good. And then we just have to send the petroleum someplace. So that's the great thing about this. For essentially with 2 liquid pumps and a little bit of power to open and close the store, you can make as much petroleum as you want very efficiently and very quickly. It'll make the petroleum as fast as you can pump it in once everything gets warmed up. And the other good thing about it is the oil refinery takes 10 kilograms of oil to make 5 kilograms of petroleum. So you lose half your oil in the process. Whereas with this, 100% of the oil that goes in there turns into petroleum. Okay, so that's powered up. Now we can close it there. All right, and we can close this up. And I'll start pumping it out. All right, well, the pressure's thankfully not too high. It might take a while to pump that out. I'll be right back. Okay, actually I made a mistake. This pipe needs to run along the floor. Like that, because that is where the fluid is going to be going. And we want the fluid in contact with these radiant pipes the whole way. So I'll have to make a quick correction here. Okay. Hurry up. Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to set the temperature on here. We want the door to be open if the temperature drops below 402. Door open below 402. No, door open if it's above 402. Alright, but I'm going to wait until I want to pump some oil in there first. So while we're vacuuming this out, let's go ahead and hook this up and get some oil flowing. Just so that we have something to heat up. Okay. And I want to be able to shut this off myself, so I'm going to... Yeah, I'll just adjust this once we get a couple tiles of oil down there. I'll just flick this sensor to the other side. Oh no! I left something inside. Okay, so I'll shut off the flow of oil. And then I will enable this. Send green signal if below 402. No, if above 402. And I need to do that for it to work. Okay, so now it's going to heat up. Turns into petroleum, and then it closes. We got a little bit of sour gas. Just because it was very hot and there wasn't a lot of fluid in there. But now we'll just let it run. Okay, now if you look at the properties of crude oil, the vaporization point is, like I said, just a hair below 400 degrees. And it actually needs to get to 402. It needs to go 2 degrees above to actually change states. Now, once it turns into petroleum, it can cool down again, which is why we're going to use this pipe. So you can see that the petroleum itself is above 400 degrees. Once we build up enough for it to get over here, it's going to start flowing over these pipes, which will kind of preheat the oil so that we need very little heat. We'll need very little additional heat for the oil to turn into petroleum because it'll already be coming out of here very close to 400 degrees. So that's the idea. So once this gets going, you'll see that this door is going to be closing very infrequently. And in fact, a lot of the oil will just instantly flash into petroleum when it gets down here. Okay, how is our vacuum doing? Our vacuum is getting replaced with sour gas. Okay, I think it's... Oh, that's actually quite a lot of sour gas pressure. Sour gas happens when you get the petroleum too hot and it vaporizes. Petroleum vaporizes at 538 degrees. I probably should have filled it with more oil before I started it, but hopefully this won't be a problem. What am I making petroleum up here? Okay, so tell you what, let's stop doing that. I want all my oil down here. This is how we're making petroleum from now on. Alright, so I'll let this go until it starts to flow down, and then I'll be back. Okay, and we're just about to start spilling over. So our petroleum is 427 degrees. The oil's coming in at 105. So we'll see what happens once this starts to work its way down our little staircase here. Okay. So now the oil is being heated. The petroleum is being cooled. So you can see down here the petroleum's 105 degrees. And now the oil up here is at about 350. 360. So that way when the oil gets to the bottom, it requires that much less heat in order for it to turn into petroleum. So once all this warms up, it gets more and more efficient as time goes by. Right, so we want it to get as close to 400 as possible without going too much over, hopefully. Eventually the petroleum will start to cool down a bit from the oil coming in. And since we're running this just above the conversion point, we shouldn't have any trouble with the oil trying to turn into petroleum inside the pipes, which would damage the pipes, of course. But it's getting preheated very close to that point. So when it comes down here, it takes very little heat, and then you'll see that this door will close for less frequently and for a shorter amount of time to get the temperature back up. Right now it turns into petroleum as soon as it hits it. And then the petroleum down here is cooled off by the oil. So it's about 136 degrees down here, about 400 degrees there. Oil's coming in at 106. It's coming out of the pipe at about 390. And let's just wait until it hits our shutoff point, make sure that's all working. And then it'll stop adding oil, and then, you know, if you let it sit here a long time, then I suppose eventually the petroleum will all just heat up to about 400 degrees. Okay, and there goes our shutoff. The oil stops coming in. And we got petroleum. Alright, well that's going to do it for today. Thanks a lot. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.